Locate and enjoy CITPs made for you.
In today's show, new software that lets you make your own magic eye picture.
It takes me ages to get into these. If you're the same, you might want to video the show this week because we've got loads more of these pictures later on in the programme. Our main review is Pitfall, the main adventure, a revamped, revitalised version of a video games classic.
And I'll be reporting from the newest and largest cinema screen complex here in New York City.
Now, you've probably seen these magic eye pictures or stereograms before because they seem to be everywhere at the moment. Basically, the idea is that you look through the picture and focus your eyes in the distance, and then a 3D image should appear in the pattern. Now, basically, the way it works is that normally when you look at a picture, you focus in on one point. But with a stereogram, you have to look through the picture, and this forces your eyes apart. So your left eye looks at the left-hand side of the picture, your right eye looks at the right-hand side of the picture, and because of that, you have a separate image in each eye, and that's why you get a 3D image. And if you're still not getting it, here's the hidden picture, a chess set. Now, if you want some more practice, video the programme and you can watch it back later on. And we've also got a few tips to help you see the 3D.
These stereograms on the video wall haven't come from a book or a poster. They've come from a new software package called Stereo World. It's available for PC, Amiga and Archimedes. It's got loads of other pictures in it, including ones like this. Now, these are much easier. These are called floaters. Now, stand in front of your screen about a metre away. And if you can't get the image by focusing beyond the picture, try going cross-eyed for a bit. You should eventually see the 3D image appear. You also need to be fairly relaxed, so you might do a bit better when you watch this programme on video a bit later on. The package also comes with some animated stereo pictures. This one's a head which turns from left to right, and this one's a bike which morphs into a car and back into a bike again. And there are even some 3D games. This one's called Lunar Lander, and you can also annoy your friends by creating your own 3D stereograms. Click on this typeface just to start by building up the image that you want to create. Put a B in there, and an A in here, and a D in there. No prizes for guessing what I'm going to spell. There are also some objects that you can use. We'll have an explosion, I think, around about there. Then what about those heads I saw? Yes, let's put one of those here, and another one there like that. Now I need to choose a background, and I like this Indian fella here. Now watch very carefully when I click on this, because you'll see the whole background shuffle to make up my 3D stereogram. There it goes. As it scrolls down the screen, the background shuffles around and creates my own bad influence 3D stereogram ready for printing out.
Hello, Furtlers. This is Antigravity paint. Oh, brilliant, it works. I'll paint some more things later, but first, here's a hot cheat for Lion King on the Mega Drive. On the options screen, just press right A, B and start. Then you can turn the cheat mode on by using left and right and select a level. Let's see, Stampede. There we go. This is brilliant. Perhaps I should have called it Cheetah King. Anyway, there we go, Stampede. And now for another anti-gravity experiment. Oh no, I've got some paint on my fingers.
Yep, I've got it. I can really see it. That's amazing.
Violet, you had it upside down.
Our main review this week is Pitfall, the main adventure on the SNES, a re-release of an old Atari classic. This is what it looked like back in 1982, and the original actually appears as a level in the new game. Pitfall 1994 style stars Harry Jr., son of the first Pitfall hero. His mission is to save his father, who's been kidnapped by an evil Mayan spirit. Here's to Hale.
This game was worth bringing back from the dead, but it still needs emergency surgery. The animation's outstanding, but there's only 8 levels and many of them look the same. The main sprite, Harry Jr., has incredibly fluid movements, and overall the animation in the game is excellent. What you have to do here is jump on the crocodiles' heads and their lilies to make your way over the river. The sound's crisp and really adds to the enjoyment of the gameplay. One thing I have to say though is that once you've played this bit over and figured out what to do, you just won't want to play it again. It's not really a game you want to keep coming back to. Some of the puzzles in this game are rather tricky. Here I'm trapped in an area, and to escape I have to pull a sequence of levers. That's the first one. Just jump over here and go through here. Let's find another lever which opens a trap door below. The first time you see this, it's really interesting and poses a challenge, but the second and third time, it's just a bore. It's got some good touches, but not enough interesting gameplay to make it a SNES classic.
The sound is quite outstanding on this game. It gives you a real sense of actually being there.
Indiana Jones, eat your heart out. This is action-packed stuff.
And the scores. Pitfall, the Mayan Adventure, gets an average 3 from the boys and a golden oldie 4 from the girls.
So, mixed feelings there about Pitfalls. Now, one of the best things about being on Bad Influence is that you get to play games on the big screen. We use what is known as a back projection unit, which incorporates an extra special bright screen and a massive projector, which is kept behind the scenes here. Now, the reason it's so huge is because it houses an ultra big and powerful lamp and an ultra powerful lens, so you get an extra bright beam, so you get a clear picture. Now, if you fancy one of these set up in your living room, you better start saving now, because it costs an ultra £35,000. This one is a lot smaller, and it'll take you considerably less time to save up one of these. It's a home unit costing about £700. Now, to demo it properly, I need something close and bright. So, Andy?
Yeah?
Can you come and stand there a second, please?
Sure.
So just,
Sorry. It's a lovely home you have, Violet, by the
Thank
way.
you. Turn the lights down, and we'll borrow your chest to have a look. And there you go. Pitfall as played on Andy's chest. Thanks, Andy. You're dismissed. I'll call you if I want anything else. All right.
Okay, bye then.
Now, obviously, it's really intended to be projected onto a wall, but it's not so easy for the camera to see it then. You can use it for videos or TV programs. Now, for all you techies out there, it uses a transparent liquid crystal display and can project a picture of up to 5 feet wide. Now, where's my popcorn? Andy?
Still in the shop, Violet. Right, from big video screens to gigantic cinema screens. Last month, Z Wright hopped on the Staten Island ferry to downtown Manhattan to check out the latest, largest and loudest cinema in America. At least it will be if they ever get it finished in time. Violet, get out of there! Sorry about that. Z Wright.
Welcome to the Big Apple, New York City and my hometown. It's a 24-hour city, and no one here can say there's nowhere to go. There aren't many more famous streets than this, Broadway in the heart of Manhattan. The name Broadway conjures up all that's hot in the world of entertainment here in New York City. And it's here on Broadway that Japanese media giant Sony is putting the finishing touches to a massive new entertainment center, which is opening in November. The centerpiece of this entertainment honeypot is the IMAX Cinema, which seats over 800 people and will have the latest in sound and picture technology. This is the smallest professional film format, 16mm, used for some TV programs. Next up is this, 35mm, used for regular run-of-the-mill movies. And this is 70mm, used for blockbusters like Star Wars and Terminator 2. But it's still not big enough to fill a screen 8 stories high. They didn't want to invent a new film size because that would have been very expensive. Instead, they had a clever idea and turned the 70mm film sideways. But that gave them a problem with the projector, because with a larger film size, the film kept breaking because of the speed of the film and the fact that it stops and starts 24 times a second. The IMAX engineers came up with this monster, the IMAX projector. It's a completely different way of projecting movies, using a rolling loop. The technology was designed in 1967, and since then, IMAX have installed over 100 screens around the world. There's one in England, in Bradford. As you might expect, the camera isn't exactly lightweight, but they're not as awkward as they were when they first invented them. The Special 3D IMAX camera has 2 lenses spaced the same distance apart as our eyes, which produces 2 similar films. To get a 3D picture, you need to show each eye a slightly different image. The films are projected onto the same place on the screen, but you still need each eye to see the correct picture. This headset picks up a signal from a transmitter and the projector that blackens each eyepiece in turn, so that the right eye sees the right image while the left eye is blacked out. Then the left eye sees the left image while the right eye is blacked out, and so on in sync. This bank of CD players sends 6 channels of sound to speakers spread all around the auditorium. The first 3D film to be shown here will be The Last Buffalo, which tells the story of a newborn buffalo and a cougar on the prowl in their natural environments. The Rolling Stones film At the Max will be another of the films to open here. It's not shot in 3D, but Mick Jagger's lips will be over 20 feet wide when he's in close-up. Think about that when you're munching your popcorn. This is Z Wright waiting for Curtain Up on Broadway for Bad Influence.
And the news from Z is that they did finish the cinema on time and it opened last week.
Now for the rest of this week's news and previews.
We've had loads of letters asking if Sonic & Knuckles is coming out on the Game Gear. Well, the answer is no, but this one is. Sonic Triple Trouble is the latest bouncy ring-collecting platformer starring the Blue Hedgehog. You can also play Tails with all his special moves, and Knuckles is in here as well as Dr. Robotnik's baddies. Should be out this week on Game Gear only.
We've also had lots of letters
And phone calls.
and email about these Lockon Guns and headsets that we showed you a couple of weeks ago. Now, it seems everybody wants them for Christmas, but they're very hard to track down. Well, you could try contacting the manufacturers, Bandai, on 0489 790 944, or look out for them in Toys R Us, Hamleys, Harrods or Bentles.
There are 2 ways to become the captain of the Starship Enterprise. One is to get beamed straight to the bridge of the Starfleet's finest ship. The other is to go through the proper training process on this new SNES simulation, Star Trek Starfleet Academy. You can boldly go next January.
Oh, Furlers, this anti-gravity paint's getting everywhere. That's better. Right, here's a cheat for Jurassic Park on the Game Boy. On the Dino intro screen, press up, down, left, up, down, right and select, and then do the whole thing again. Up, down, left, up, down, right and select. Then start the game and press A, B, start and select together to skip levels at any time. Hey, brilliant! And now for some more anti-gravity painting. Oh no, I've left the lid off the paint. Aha! Whoa! Whoa!
Now, looking in the pink there. Now, how does a clothing designer know when a particular fabric will rise and fall gracefully? Well, this particular quality is called drapability, and in the past, they've traditionally had to just feel the fabric, find out what's right. Like this one feels very fluid, and this is in fact a grade 1 fabric. But over here we have a grade 4 fabric. It's very stiff and really not drapable at all. It's pretty difficult, but now there's a new way of doing it on a computer.
With the aid of this. The Marilyn Monroe simulation rig, named after a famous scene in one of Marilyn Monroe's movies, as recreated by our own dear Violet Berlin. Inside, not Marilyn I'm afraid, but a metal disc and a pole, and at the top of the box, a camera looking vertically down on that disc. Now, to test the drapability of a fabric, take a standard size sample and drape it over the disc, which represents Marilyn's waist, if you like. Close the box, and then the computer takes over. S to start. It can assess the drapability of a piece of fabric simply by the way it hangs over that disc. Now, if you think about it, a grade 1 fabric that's very drapable will hang over the disc like this, all of it hanging down the sides. And something like this, which would be a grade 4 bit of fabric, doesn't hang over the disc very well at all. It's all stiff and awkward. So what the computer's doing here is measuring the curves and the way it folds and the surface area that you can see. That gives it an estimation of its drapability as it's static. Next thing we can do is take a photograph of it moving. I'll put in the motor speed and start the motor. Now I press escape and grab a still of the fabric moving, and the first thing the computer does is clear up the flicker on the image and then takes a second set of measurements. Now if you imagine when a piece of fabric is spun round, it flares out, and a more drapable piece of fabric, a grade 1 fabric, will move more than a stiff piece of fabric. So the computer takes 2 sets of measurements and compares the 2 to work out the drapability. Easy to tell the difference between a grade 1 and a grade 4 fabric, but what about these 2? Now these are very similar. I tested them earlier on, and one's a grade 2 and one's a grade 3, but I can't for the life of me tell the difference. That's where the computer comes into its own. Just about finished taking the measurements now, so my fabric belongs to grade 2. Earlier, Violet was seen in a grade 1 dress. We now show you Violet modelling a grade 4 skirt.
The Marilyn Monroe machine is only the first part of a research project at Bradford University, and this is the second stage. They've already been able to simulate how fabric falls and moves, and the eventual aim is to show how fabric will hang on a virtual model.
Right, that's quite enough of this close show nonsense. Time for some more games reviews.
The stars of What's Up Doc are now appearing on a console near you.
Am I?
No, not you, Andy. The real stars, the Animaniacs. Follow the Warner Brothers and Warner Sister as they make their wacky way around the studio backlots, pursued as ever by the security guard who wants to lock them up. And who can blame him? Here's Sally with the SNES version.
I bet you can't play this without laughing. There's a real feeling of fun about the game, and the main characters are so cute. Once you pass the first bit, all the other levels are based on different film sets. This is the aquatic stage. I've left Wacko and Dot behind because there's not much room on the raft. I'm looking for a film script because it's a very film-based game. But you've got to watch out for Jaws because he pops out anywhere. There he is. If you die, you get the chance to play one of the other characters. Here I'm playing Dot, and she's still looking for the script. And she's found it. It's captured the quality of the cartoon series, and if you're a fan of the TV program, then you won't be disappointed.
This is good fun, but the puzzles just aren't challenging enough for my liking.
This game is completely silly and excellent fun. It's exactly what you'd expect from the Animaniacs.
Scores then. Animaniacs gets a completely mad. Am I wacky or what? 4 out of 5 from the girls and the boys.
Okay, you have to pick your dream basketball team. Who will you have? Shaquille O'Neal possibly, Magic Johnson certainly, but Buster Bunny? Buster and the rest of the Tiny Toons characters are now starring in their very own sports extravaganza on the Mega Drive, which also includes 10-pin bowling, an obstacle course, and this football game. Here's Angela.
This is my kind of sports game. I wouldn't be bothered with a sports sim, but I found this really playable because of all the cartoon characters. All the characters have their special skills, like Dizzy Devil there spinning around. My favourite team is Dizzy Devil, Babs and Buster Bunny and Fifi Skunk. There she goes saving a goal. There's loads of humour in the game. The only drawback is that the characters are really hard to control because of all the action going on. This game's definitely got the fun factor. If you're into slapstick humour, then you'll love this.
This is the height of sadness. If you want a sports game, get NBA Jam or FIFA Soccer. Don't waste your money on this.
This didn't grab me at all. I mean, why are Tiny Toons playing basketball?
Cartoon fans love it, but sports purists are horrified. Tiny Toons Adventure Acme All-Stars gets a 4 from the girls, but a mean old 2 from the boys.
Oh, you fellas, that was a narrow escape. I almost got trapped on the ceiling. It's taken me till now to crawl down the walls and nail my feet to the floor. I'll just do this last cheat for you and then I'll try and clean up a bit. It's for Street Fighter 2 Turbo on the SNES, and it's a handy way of changing your joypad controls before a match without having to wade through all the menus. Just choose a player in the normal way, then press and hold down select until a secret configuration menu appears, letting you change the controls. There you go. Now I'll just see how to clean all this stuff off. Oh, wait a minute, what's this? Warning, the anti-gravity effects of Dolox paint wear off in approximately 17 minutes. Oh no.
And remember, don't try that at home. Last week's competition prize was a Pentium PC and a copy of the game Magic Carpet. We asked you, apart from Z, how many people have walked on the moon? The answer is 12, and as you might expect, we had an incredible response. In fact, over 40,000 people rang in, and all their names went into the computerised bad influence bucket, but the lucky winner is Jenny Holmes from Liverpool. Well done, excellent prize. 10 runners up, get bad influence t-shirts.
This week's competition prize is one of these nifty little Marantz projectors, which you can also use to show TV programmes and videos as well as computer games. The question is, which city has the only IMAX cinema in Britain? Which city has the only IMAX cinema in Britain? If you know, call us with your answer on 0891 555 999. The call will cost you no more than 25p. Lines will stay up until midnight on Monday, but do please get permission from whoever pays the phone bill before you dial, because as we always say, you can't win if you don't get permission, and we always check. Right, that's it for this week. Hope you enjoyed the programme. Next week, amongst other things, we look at the latest add-on for the Mega Drive, the 32X, and review one of the games for it, Star Wars Arcade. Here's a sneak preview in the credits. See you next week. Bye-bye.